Hello everyone, welcome to the literary and jury charge portion of the 100 class. We're going to start off with some Latin and French words, and I will give you the words first and then read you the paragraph. Okay, we've got guardian ad litem, mandamus, mens rea, and carpe diem. Here is your paragraph. A guardian ad litem is a person designated by the court to conduct litigation on behalf of another. A guardian ad litem usually represents a minor. Mandamus means to command. A writ of mandamus is issued by a higher court commanding specific action by a lower court. Mens rea is sometimes described as the guilty mind. When a person has criminal intent, he has mens rea. A guardian ad litem is normally appointed for the duration of the trial. A writ of mandamus may be issued to a non-judicial official. Carpe diem means to take advantage of today and place no trust in the future. Carpe diem literally means to seize the day. All right, I've got a fun fact here. This is on craft. Stride gum. It's called a legal brief. All right, here we go. Ready? Lawsuit. Kraft manufactures Stride gum, whose advertisements claim ridiculously long-lasting. Elsie Paulo of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, sued Kraft in 2012. Was it for false advertising because the gum's flavor gave out after a few minutes? Nope. She sued for $100,000 because the gum worked too well. She claimed that after chewing a single piece of Stride, she had to scrub her dentures to remove tiny specks of the resilient, long-lasting gum, which she claims made her extremely depressed for approximately 10 minutes. Verdict, case dismissed. And then under that, there's one little last fun fact. It says, first Britain in space, astronaut Helen Sharman, 1991, was the first Briton in space. All right, I love those little fun facts. I've got closing arguments. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Your Honor, Mr. Phillips, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am very anxious to argue my case. I think I even tried to start arguing in my opening statement. It has been a long time now since we had opening statements. A lot of evidence has been presented to you since that time, and we are now finally back together again, where we can talk about what the facts of this case are. I have only a few minutes until the lunch break, and I am not going to try to make my whole presentation in 10 minutes. If you will remember my opening statement, I identified 4 areas that I felt were going to be very important in this trial. I urged you all to pay close attention to those 4 areas, particularly when the testimony came in on those subjects, because I felt that they were the keys to solving this particular case. It has been described as a jigsaw puzzle, and I think that is probably a good and apt description of what we have here in a lawsuit of this magnitude, where there are so many witnesses, so much evidence, so many things happening, and where you are trying to fit all of the pieces together coherently to make some sense out of it. The 4 that I identified, number 1 was there a person with excuse me, with a gun standing behind James, assisting him in taking the keys from Sherman? Number 2, did James and Purdy draw their weapons before seeing the shotgun on Burrell's lap? Number 3, did Virgil effectively communicate to James that he was a police officer when he came running up behind him? And number 4, did James surrender to the police before he could have reasonably seen that there were police cars or policemen at the scene? The answer to each of these issues is no. There is not only simply a reasonable doubt as to their truth, but I think the evidence proves that it is very satisfactory from looking at all the evidence that each of these answers is in the negative, that these things did not happen. I want to go over them one by one, starting with the incident at the drive-in theater on the 1st of February with the taking of the keys for the motorcycle from Dwayne. Did James know there was a man standing behind him with a gun? There are a number of ways you can look at this. All right. I have an article here. It's called Out and About, Places to Go and Things to See Near and Far. And this is on Peacock Pizzazz. Here we go. There's a colorful show in town, but don't delay if you want to see it. These feathers unfurl only from March through June. Arguably the most stunningly decorated birds in nature, the resident peacocks at the Los Angeles County Arboretum and Botanic Gardens in Arcadia dazzle visitors with their ostentatious plumage during the spring breeding season. The male will wait for a peahen to wander close and then unleash his weapon of seduction, a magnificent mosaic of tail feathers, known as a train. When she comes closer, he will turn to present his backside and vibrate a set of rear feathers that makes a rattlesnake-like sound. The colorful exhibit is at its most frantic from 8 to 9:30 a.m., and members who can enter at 8 a.m. get the best viewing possible. Regular opening time is 9 a.m. The Desert Display Garden opposite the Peacock Cafe is the birds' favorite cavorting spot. Peacock Day, which is March 25th, includes a lecture and food. Admission is $4 to $9, depending on the time and day. 301 North Baldwin Avenue, Arcadia. Phone number 626-821-3222. Or you can look them up online at www.arboretum.org. That would be fun to go see. I love peacocks. All right, we're going to continue on with our article from the Harvard Heart Letter, Unsuspected Heart Attacks. Okay. All right, here we go. In 1772, William Heberden, an English physician, characterized angina as a strangling, most disagreeable sensation in the breast. Since this early description appeared, physicians have relied on anginal symptoms to diagnose and monitor the treatment of patients with ischemic heart disease. When a middle-aged or older patient develops chest heaviness that is brought on by exertion and relieved within a few minutes by rest, the chances are fairly good that coronary artery disease is responsible for the symptoms. Medications such as beta blockers, nitrates, or calcium channel blockers can be used to prevent these anginal spells, a clue that asymptomatic episodes of ischemia could be a common and important cause of heart problems came from the Framingham Heart Study, an ongoing investigation of the residents of this Massachusetts town. In 2004, the researchers reported that more than 25% of the heart attacks that occurred were in persons who had no clear-cut symptoms. Only when abnormalities were detected on subsequent routine electrocardiograms, or ECGs, were the attacks recognized. Cardiologists also began to note that many patients whose ECGs during exercise showed changes suggestive of ischemia did not experience concurrent anginal symptoms. A personal monitor. In the years since the Framingham report, ambulatory ischemia Holter monitoring has provided additional information about silent ischemia. With this technique, patients wear a strap to which the monitor is attached. This device is a sophisticated recorder that records the heart's electrical activity continuously for 24 to 48 hours by means of 5 thin wires attached to the person's chest as he or she goes about life. During this period, patients keep a daily diary to make note of their activities and any symptoms such as chest pain or lightheadedness that occur. When the information on the recording is fed into a computer, the ECG can be scanned for changes suggestive of ischemia. By checking the entries in the patient's diary, the physician can determine what activities caused the ischemia and whether the tissue damage was accompanied by angina. Using this technique, researchers have shown that most patients with moderate or severe coronary artery disease have some episodes of ischemia that cause symptoms and others that do not, a situation known as mixed angina. But in some people with coronary artery disease, ischemia is always silent. So we'll stop there. Have a few more minutes. All right, this is a congressional record. Social Security recipients. All right, here we go. Mr. Speaker, today I am introducing legislation to remove the outside limitation on earnings of Social Security recipients. Currently, eligible recipients who are between the ages of 65 and 72 have their Social Security benefits reduced if they are earning an income greater than $18,000 per annum. Presently, the reduction rate is $1 for every $2 earned. When an individual becomes eligible for Social Security benefits at 65 years of age and continues to work, he or she is liable for an amount of tax that is equal to 50% on their income. I feel, Mr. Speaker, this is extremely unfair. First, if a recipient is denied the full benefits under the Social Security program because of outside employment, we are putting a Social Security recipient in the same category as a welfare recipient. Isn't Social Security a retirement program? Social Security requires forced payments to the government, which holds this money in trust for the recipient. Social Security recipients are not wards of the state. They are entitled to receive their benefits as a matter of right. Second, a limit on earnings hits those who need the money the most. To survive in today's economy, many retirees must work to supplement their income. This income, in return, is taxed by the Social Security Administration. Third, by punishing an individual who works, the restriction or limitation on earnings discourages productivity. Every person should have the right to pursue an individual goal after age 65. If a person chooses to continue to be a productive member of the workforce after 65, one should not be penalized. Let it be known to all, Mr. Speaker, that I am earnestly awaiting the decision of the House Ways and Means Committee whether to give this bill prompt and adequate consideration. And that concludes our literary and jury charge for the 100 class. Thank you.